Alright, you know what? Screw this, I have no script for this video this time. Because I can't find a structure for this video, so I'm just gonna improvise, I guess. One of the most watched videos on our channel is the casual versus speedrun video about Breath of the Wild finishing the plateau. So, some of you might remember that. But since we made that video, a lot has changed. But not only that, technically every Breath of the Wild video we made is basically outdated. Remember our last top 5 hardest 3D Zeldas to run? Well, yeah, that one's outdated as well. Because within the last 2 years, Breath of the Wild has gotten so many glitches, I don't even know where to start. But the best would probably be to explain the plateau again. Also, if you're watching this video and considering to pick up Breath of the Wild any percent as your first speed game, you're better off finding a time machine because this game's gotten hard. Alright, first things first, the game's still in German. Who would have thought? However, in the any percent run, you don't even get to see this amazing introduction cutscene of the plateau anymore, because you skip it. Before, the run started as follows. You got control, got the Sheikah Slate, used the Sheikah Slate on the first terminal, climbed up the wall, and were introduced to the game's overworld. Well, now you get the Sheikah Slate, use it once so the animation doesn't come up anymore, then run up a wall and run towards a pillar, then mash the Sheikah Slate. This will stop your momentum immediately and clip you out of bounds. This might sound simple, but trust me, it's not as easy as it sounds. A lot of runs die here. Here you then climb up a wall you're not supposed to see because it's basically underground. But the floor has collision from the bottom as well. So you now climb up that wall and then have to start sprinting at a very specific point to actually clip inbounds or out again. I'm not sure if it's out of bounds if you're trapped out of bounds, or if it's inbounds and the overworld's out of bounds. I don't really get it. Anyway, in the old run, you then made your way to the first tower. You collected a couple of arrows and then used your Sheikah Slate to activate it. This tower is entirely skipped, which means the new run will now go to a bokoblin camp, grab a shield there, then grab an axe, grab a bow at another bokoblin camp, and then go to the Stasis Shrine. This is actually fairly close, as you usually just make it to the Stasis Shrine with half a heart due to the cold. And because you have no food, prepare to die. Also, from here on, it doesn't really make sense to compare with the old run anymore because the shrines are all over the place if you try to compare them. But you can say that the new route is about 2 minutes faster because, well, you skip the tower and you skip the introduction cutscene, so that's actually quite a bit already. In order to get into the shrines, you usually need to activate the tower. The game won't allow you to open the shrines if you haven't activated the tower. This is the point where a trick called shield skew comes in. Whenever you're landing on a surface while shield surfing, the game memorizes the angle you've had when you shield surfed last. If you now start a shield surf and unequip your shield as you initiate the shield surf, you will get in a glitchy animation where you clip into the direction the surface was pointing towards when you last shield surfed on it. This only lasts for a couple of frames though, so you will do this clipping animation and then go back to normal fairly fast. But you can use this to clip into the shrines. The way this works is actually fairly easy. You set up your clip so you clip backwards or towards the camera. Then you will move forward as Link is basically set back a little bit. Then he tries to revert back to his normal position, which is then in the shrine itself. Once again, it sounds easy, but there are actually a couple more variables. For example, you need a good skew, you need to have a good angle, you need to have a good position, and you need to unequip your shield during a certain frame when you start shield surfing. But thanks to the design of the game, you now need to clip back inbounds again, so basically into the shrine so you can enter the platform. The Stasis Shrine itself didn't change a whole lot. You grab the rune, freeze the platform, freeze the boulder, and then do a shield surf with an unequipped shield over the boulder, or just past the boulder. Once you're done here, you approach the boulder to the left of the shrine. You use your stasis rune on it, charge up 3 strikes, then use your bow to lift it upwards, climb on it, and then use it to fly up onto the hill on top. From here we shield surf to the next bokoblin camp. And this is where the game gets really difficult. In the game, there is a trick called bullet time bounds, or in short, BTB. When you enter bullet time mode, everything gets slowed down, apart from one little thing: recoiling off of enemies or objects while being in shield surfing mode. This means the following. Let us hypothetically assume that the game slows down the physics by 25 times when you enter bullet time mode. This means that everything that has physics applied to it has now a timescale multiplier of 0.04. But for some reason, recoiling off of enemies while shield surfing is not included. Only what happens after the recoil is included because you now have unusual physics. So what you want to do now is to use an arrow to lure a bokoblin to a specific point and then start a shield surf to hop on top of him. Right before you hit the bokoblin, you will go into bullet time mode using your bow. As you recoil, you go out of bullet time mode. When you go out of bullet time mode, you're basically having a normal recoil speed at the beginning. But as you go out of bullet time mode, the game will now have to add a multiplier of 25 to the physics again in order to get everything back to normal speed. As you just recoiled from the bokoblin and are now just flying, this multiplier will also apply to Link. So instead of just falling on your face, you're now flying through the air. Using this, you will now make your way to the Cryonis trial. And trust me, you're not gonna enjoy learning this trick. Once arrived at the Cryonis shrine, you basically do the same thing you did at the Stasis shrine. This means get a shield skew, clip into the shrine, and clip back in bounds. The Cryonis shrine once again isn't too different from the way you're used to. There is a shortcut, but it really doesn't save a whole lot of time. Once you're done with that, you do another bullet time bounce off of a bokoblin. But that one is different, because it would be too easy if all the bullet time bounces were the same. Once again, you shoot an arrow to get the bokoblins in a certain position, then you jump down, get into bullet time mode, and fly towards the Magnesis trial. That is, if you're good enough at performing that, because trust me, you will need a couple of attempts to even get remotely close to that one. Same procedure here, shield skew, clip, clip, and you're in. As for the Cryonis trial, there aren't a whole lot of things you can do different. Actually, the only trick you can do goes as follows. You cast an ice block in the water, then you perform a shield surf on it and jump as the ice block is finished casting. This will lift you up and you'll be able to jump up without having to use the seesaw. The Magnesis trial is fairly straightforward again. The only trick you can do here is to cross the gap without having to use any sort of item to get over there. Instead, you'll just do a shield surf and you'll make it over the gap. The last trial we have to do is the bomb trial. Here we can now either perform a stasis launch to get to another bokoblin camp, from where we will then perform another bullet time bounce to the bomb trial, or we just walk there. Once we got there, it's the same procedure. Shield skew, clip, clip, and we're in. Obviously, I'm making this sound way easier than it is. As for the bomb trial itself, there were no changes as well. So basically, pretty much no tricks here. After this is done, we get introduced to the King of Hyrule. Wait, what? We didn't even meet him before. Anyways, he tells us to go to the Temple of Time so he can reveal his identity and tell us what to do. But before we go there, we're just gonna go on a small little side trip to collect a couple of items we need for the category we're running. Once we're at the Temple of Time, we get our paraglider and are finally done with a plateau. From now on, we can explore the area with a paraglider, or perform a bullet time bounce to get to Hyrule Castle, and most likely reset the game because this is the hardest one in the entire any % run. So, as you can see, a whole lot of things changed since we made our casual versus speedrun video. Actually, we can't even compare those anymore, and the game has gotten a lot harder to run. While in the beginning it was fairly straightforward and you didn't need that much practice to actually learn the plateau, you now have to put in several hours to even get it remotely down. So if you want to pick this up, make sure to bring in a lot of time. But hey, let's look at the bright side. At least the shrines are still simple. If you can get in there. Because when I tried to learn that, I needed like 2 to 3 hours to even understand what I had to do and how it works. But this concludes our little video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure to check out our channel and hit that subscribe button and all those other fancy things you can do to support us in order to not miss out on any more videos in the future.